All right. Mark, if you want to start with.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, I think this is hopefully this will be a good meeting, good talk for everybody. Sorry, my computer's acting crazy, and I need to just not even look at it. It may say I'm leaving the meeting, but I'm losing a lost connection. But I'm here by phone, so don't worry. But no, I just want this to be productive for everyone. I think it's good. I think it's something that's the issue here is something that's probably a long time coming, and we're looking to move forward and get something accomplished here, and not have any not looking for any pushback on my side, and hopefully we all can work together and for the same common goal, and that's for our people.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're all hoping that we can all just gain some clarity, and we do want this to be like a respectful conversation with you. It's a big deal, I think, this meeting. And so Autumn, are you ready to start with the questions?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All right, I'm just gonna pull them up so I can see them in front of me. Again, this is Autumn speaking, and I also just want to kind of reiterate everything that was also said. That I would also like this to be a respectful meeting and for things to go through smoothly. I'm going to be the one going through all the questions, and we're going to allow for Mark to answer each one. For all of those who are listening, if you have a way to take notes or anything that you would like clarity on after, please jot them down and wait until we are done with all of the questions. We want to be able to give Mark all the opportunity to explain or answer how, whatever he's got to be able to say. And then at the end, we will go through and see if there's anyone who has extra questions. Listen out and make sure that if, some of those answers, those questions might be answered as we go down the list. So, make sure that you're taking notes and jotting your thoughts down as we go. Things really might be able to get answered along the way. And when it's time to ask questions or get those clarities, we're going to try to monitor the timing. We don't want to be rude, like, oh, you got to stop, but be mindful. I don't know if 2 or 5 minutes is, 5 minutes can actually be a long time. So we're going to maybe shoot for 2. But I also don't want to be too strict on it. I just want to make sure that we get through this meeting smoothly and not have it go on for too long. So we have 13 questions. And these questions were collected. We made a post asking for all the women to, put down their thoughts and questions they might have had for Chief and Counsel. And again, some of these might have already been answered during this time leading up to this meeting, but we're still going to state them and make sure that everyone can hear them. And Mark, if you have trouble hearing me or anything and you need to repeat the question, just let me know. I'm going to try my best to keep an eye on the block there for you, so I know when you're trying to speak. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first question, number 1, is what criteria must be met in order to be a tribal member?
Yeah, that criteria is out there on our website, and the key is just showing that who you are and how you relate back to the tribe. So it's very simple, and so it's out there. So if you go to the website, you'll see the criteria.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going back, I'm toddling back and forth between the document and the Zoom meeting. All right, so number 2, what is the meaning of tribal membership? i.e., what rights do you have as a tribal member, men and women?
Our stuff is okay.
So what's the
Yeah,
meaning of tribal membership? What does it mean to be a tribal member for men and
yeah,
women?
that's kind of this. I probably can lay this out real easily. I'm sorry. Probably need to set my computer off because I keep getting emails for work. They know I'm on, and they keep popping up in the corner. So really, for the membership for the tribal members, it's really kind of I guess it's different for residents and non-residents right now. You have your hunting rights for everyone, fishing rights, and you have to be a tribal member to do so. You can't just say I'm Indian in the state of Virginia and that gets you by. You have to be a card-carrying native to do so. And really being a resident is just your tax exemption rights, your voting rights for people that are over age of 18, and able to run for tribal offices. That's kind of that's the difference between the resident and non-resident, and kind of really I think your question 2 and 3 kind of go together, but we can get to that one. It's they kind of run all in one.
Oh, right. With the well, I'm going to state number 3. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read number 3 out loud. So
yeah, that's no problem because there's probably things I could add to it. To be honest,
okay.
I don't have a bunch of notes. I'm answering from my heart here. So
that's perfectly fine, Mark. That's all we're wanting. And just for anyone who's taking notes, I just want to state it out loud so everyone's able to follow along. All right. So question number 3 is, what is the difference between residential tribal members and non-residential tribal members? We have been told that non-residents do not have the same rights as residents. Why is that so? So residents versus non-residents.
Yeah, I can answer that real easy too. It's because the tribe and the chief and council, I don't probably use the proper word here, but being on the reservation and the lands and what's here on the reservation, we don't oversee people not non-resident tribal members. They live out on the Commonwealth or out wherever they may be, and not on the reservation. So there's some not as the residents here are subject to, and so we govern the people of the reservation. We do not govern the people that's not living on the reservation.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. All right, moving on to number 4. How many male non-residents have tribal voting rights and or council seats currently?
And I'll say none.
You said there is none that have non-residential tribal voting rights? You said none?
What? Say that again. Would you?
Is
I think you said something.
Okay. So there is no non-residents that have tribal voting rights?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And I want to ad lib because I feel like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like some of these questions are trying to be trick questions and things of that nature. What needs to understand is that things have gone on. People, when you call for a lot or you call for residents here on the reservation, you have a time allotment for that to happen. Also, you have allotment that if you stay a certain amount of time throughout the year, then you are a resident. So and then you can even ask for extensions also. If you call for a lot or anything of that nature, and you do not, the lot is, say, you're running up on your time, your 2 years, and you haven't done anything with the lot, you can ask for an extension, due to trying to, getting money straight or getting a home set up or whatever it may be. Or even with the craziness we've had last year with this pandemic that's been going on, that's really have put a damper on a lot of people in a lot of ways. So people can ask for extensions, and and 9 times out of 10 they're usually granted. No one is here to try to take somebody's home place or anything away from them.
Okay. Well, if you feel these questions are just taken straight from a list from members and non-members, and we didn't want to leave any questions left undone. So please feel free to clarify, like if there's more information that needs to go into it, feel free to just add into there, and it will probably help knock out some other questions down below it too.
Yeah, that's why I kind of, I did that right there just to make everyone aware.
Yeah, that's good.
We can't assume everybody knows it all, and I know I don't know it all either. But the key is making sure that everybody's on the same page. Right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to question number 5. Why were women's rights initially taken away, and why is it taking a great length of time to rectify this?
To be honest with you, I cannot speak to that because it was before my time, before I was even going to meetings or anything of that nature. So I could not speak to why, if they were taken away or if they were ever even given, because I don't know. I don't know if something was taken away and if it was never given, and I don't know either one. But I will say that you gotta think back that then there was a different time and a different era, and the elders of the tribe was doing that they thought that would protect the tribe and keep its sovereignty and keep it going as it has survived for over 300 years. So I would say that now that's what I'm trying to do, and not trying to do, what is really we're going to do, is to rectify that and make sure that that women do have a voice, and that they are part of the meetings and part of what needs to go on. I know that everybody is on the same page that's in council with me. That they're looking for that. I don't think no one has said no, I don't want to do. We don't want to do that. So it's an endeavor that's going to happen.
Okay. All right, that's good. Number 6. Thank you, Mark. All right, so number 6 says NWC's initial request was for the rights to attend tribal meetings, vote, run for office, and be granted land on the reservation. What steps have been made towards these goals, and what is the long-term plan to rectify these discrepancies, i.e., there are currently no women on council? How is this going to be rectified so that women do have a voice in tribal politics now? I know you touched on it in number 5. This is kind of going a little bit more into it.
Yeah, I can kind of add a little more to that. I mean, I would say that women do have lots here, or granted lots on the reservation. They've been lots granted to women many years ago, again, before my time. So there's women who have had lots before. There is a waiting list of there are women and men who have called for a lots and reinstatement, and which a land use plan is now starting back with, again, with the pandemic and everything. I was working with William and Mary on a land use plan, so we can start looking at, you know, getting that together. And so the people that requested their names, you know, they weren't told no. I think they were all told that they are on the list. There is a list, and when we get the land use plan completed, which is now starting back up again, that endeavor, then we will surely be bringing that out and letting people go. Now, for the, you know, the voice for, you know, being on council and things of that nature, I said that's all part of what we're trying to do now. You know, you don't just get put on council, or you don't just be the chief. You just don't be this. You know, I'm saying when, and which we're hoping it to be very soon, to when the doors are open for all members of the all members residing on the reservation, 18 years of age, are be allowed to come to the meetings, be a part of the meetings, and you know, those you are appointed by your peers. So it's not like someone said, Mark, you're going to be chief or whatever. It was an appointment, and then it was a vote, and that's how all seats will work, the appointments and votes.
Okay. And just to make sure that I get it all clear, the question is asking about the steps that are happening from right now to that point to when the doors do get opened.
The steps.
What steps are being taken to get to that point?
Yeah, and that's the steps are we're in the process of redoing the Constitution that allows that I say redoing to writing, because the Constitution, I've never seen a copy of the Constitution. We worked with trying to think of the college right now off the top of my head, it'll come to me in a minute, about putting a draft together. And in that draft, you know, there were some things in there that we're striking out. We're looking at it now. You know, one of them, it said being, to be a voting member, you had to be a male of 18 years of age, which is being stricken out. Just saying you have to be a resident of the reservation. So those things are being addressed and, I guess, changed in the draft. And then after the draft is completed, then the draft will be then given to everyone to look at. I said all of it, to take a look to make sure that, you know, there's nothing missing and nothing, you know, everything is accounted for. And then that's the steps. That's the main step to make it all happen. After that, then the vote will happen to ratify the Constitution. And when the Constitution is ratified, then that by ratifying the Constitution, that opens the door right there. There's not a separate vote. There's not nothing. When the Constitution is ratified, that takes care.
Okay. I'm sorry, my screen went away.
Yeah, no problem. I know.
Yeah,
that
the next. All right. The next question kind of also hits on 6, and that's asking how come these can't be rectified immediately? How come it can't be something that just goes, okay, well, let's go ahead and give women their rights immediately? So that's not question number 7.
Yeah, and I think I kind of answered it in there, because it has to be put into the Constitution itself. It has to be, and the Constitution is being written. And why it can't happen immediately is that we're trying to complete the Constitution, and there's other things that are going on that kind of hampers us from doing that, and other things we're right here now at, just to let you know some things that with the federal recognition, we had this month to finish up writing for a grant, the ANA grant, which will help fund the recognition, and also will help fund jobs for people on the reservation that's to be a part of helping to make this happen. It's not just the reservation. I'll say Native people, Mattaponi people, they not having to live on the reservation, but people that we're going to need, we're looking for to help out in this endeavor. Excuse me. And so really the whole, and there's some other things that are happening out there that really puts the brakes on us altogether. And I mean, I think people have seen it out there and seen some things that surely been posted on social media that truly been manipulated to make it look one way, and it's truly not that way. And that right there halts everything we're trying to do. Yes, people out there trying to take down the reservation, and I say we, myself, and the council are trying to we're trying to build the reservation, and we want the Native people, Native women, to be a part of it. And we're better in strength instead of fighting against each other.
Yeah. Okay. Ready? I'm going to move on to question number 8, and this one is kind of long. I'm going to see if I can't. I'm going to read it all the way through, and
okay.
And see if we can't break it up into parts. Okay. So number 8 says, because of over a century of laws and practices that have kept women out of equal roles and opportunity, a change in law may not result in equality. For example, allowing women to vote and hold office does not change the reality that there is no female representation on the council. Also, there are very few female residents due to exclusion practices. Therefore, there is a disproportionately small number of voting female tribal residential members. The proportion does not accurately reflect the demographic makeup of the overall tribe. What steps will you take outside of the change in law to rectify this discrepancies? That sounds to me that even when the laws are changed, there's such few amount of females on the reservation at this time that the representation will still not be equal, is what I'm picking up from that. I'm gonna let you speak your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
We can break it into parts. We can.
Yeah, I can respond to that very easily. I mean, the bottom line is it's the representation is who's going to be here and who's going to live here. It's not man and woman. It's not me or you against each other. It's when you come to tribal meetings and we talk about events and things that are going on. It's opinions and it's thoughts and it's what's brought to the table. It's people thinking about what's right and what's wrong, or what needs to be done or what doesn't need to be done. It's not because I'm a woman or because I'm a man. This is the way I think. You should be thinking about the betterness of your people and what you can do to keep your really to help your people, not to help yourselves or to help anyone else. And I'm not saying yourselves, I'm talking as a whole, as everyone. Everyone is, when you come to a meeting, you're there to listen to issues or problems or whatever it may be, and then voice your opinion. Opinions, people you may go in thinking one way, and then you sit and listen to really truly what's happening, and you're like, you know what, I think that's right to go this way. So it's not, and it's kind of back to what I said before, is that you are appointed by your peers to have that. You have the voice, but you're appointed by peers to have the office. So your peers are the ones that will appoint you.
Okay. All right. And again, it's another question that I feel like you've already answered, but I'm still going to read it aloud. And this one is, are you as chief for women's full and equal rights?
Yes, I mean, I've stated that in my responses back to you guys on numerous occasions on emails and things of that nature. That yes, I am. I have no qualms against it at all.
Right, agree. You have answered that one before. That's again, some of these questions have been around for a little bit. So let's see, number 10, we're almost done. If we are not given the above rights, why? Why wouldn't we? Again, you've already answered. Who amongst tribal council is against women's rights, and what is their reasoning? And I feel like that might be a question that you said that everyone is all on the same page.
There's no one that's against it. I will tell you that. There's no one that I know of that's against it. I will tell you that now. I mean, opinions have been voiced in meetings prior to the pandemic. Of everyone was willing to. That's what we need to do next to make it happen. So there's no one that's against it.
Okay, and just for the beginning part of that question, it was a two-part, number 10 actually has two questions in it. If we are not given the above rights, why? Would there be a reason why we would not be given the rights above?
No, there's no reason. There's no reason why you wouldn't be.
Okay. All right. Number 11 says, if it is not, just a second, if it is not of high importance of the council to move our tribe towards more successful endeavors, how does the chief and council plan to successfully do this without representation of the Mattaponi women? I don't know if I read that.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and no, I don't. I think as I said earlier, we're here to work together as a tribe, as women, men, children, elders, all. So there again, it goes back to saying I do not foresee that is not going to happen.
Okay. I don't know if I read it correctly. I don't know if it's referring to how can we move forward in this current moment without women representation, because it's speaking about moving forward.
Yeah, I think.
Would it be women representation? Can there be women representation right now to help with the process of moving forward?
And I think that's going to be part of it. And the representation is back what I talked about with the ANA grants and things of that nature, and the people we're going to need, and that's the people we're going to need to help the tribe move forward. The tribe, it's going to be, and it can be women, men, all the above. But that's how we're going to do that. We got, as I said before, we need to work together to strive and for the tribe to prosper.
Okay. All right. Number 12. What are the current bylaws and constitution The MWC asked for copies of these several months ago. Why have we not received them? Can we be provided copies now? If not, why? Again, that's a few questions in one.
Yep,
About the
can answer-
bylaws and
can an-
constitutions. Okay.
Okay, goes back, something I said earlier about the Constitution. The Constitution is being written. So one, we're not going to put anything out there for it to be misinterpreted or anything of that nature, because it hasn't been ratified yet. So the Constitution is not valid right now, I should say. I spoke, just to let you know too, I spoke to chiefs from other tribes, and just really to ask about how do they do this? What are they doing? And just to make sure that when I don't try not to make the mistakes that they had made in the past and things they've done with, especially with getting their federal recognitions and things of that nature. And what I was told, and matter of fact, that the Constitution and the laws stay in their office. Anyone can come and look and see them, but they're in their office because those laws change, things go differently. So they're in their office, and then basically a person makes an appointment with their tribal office and goes and sees those. So that's kind of something we're looking to do too, instead of having 20 different volumes of something out here and that's not, well, I say not true because it's not true yet because it hasn't been ratified. So you need to, so when that happens, then it'll be made available at our tribal office, and people can then see them.
Right. That way it cannot be manipulated. I got you. All right.
Exactly.
Then the last one is asking about the trustees. Who are the trustees currently is the last question.
And what's the purpose of that question? Because I have a question on that.
We would have to, I'd have to, the one who asked, who are the trustees currently? Are you on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. I want to know who the trustees were. I thought it was supposed to be common knowledge to all the Mattaponi tribal members. I didn't think it was a secret, and I thought it'd be easy access to get through the chief council. So yes, I would like to know who the trustees are. I just ask them.
Is there
All right.
Is there a purpose?
Is there a purpose?
Yeah. But let me say something, and then
all right, go ahead, Mark.
let me say something. I guess people need to understand what the trustees are there for, and the trustees were appointed to us by the state to help us work. I guess to help us keep from being taken advantage of by the non-natives on the Commonwealth, so they can help direct us and point us in the right direction. The trustees take their direction from the chief and council, and then they do not govern the reservation. They only can make a recommendation.
Can you say that last part again, Mark? They can only do what?
Make recommendations. They cannot.
Okay.
They do not govern the tribe. The tribe is governed by the chief and council.
But only for the men to use, or can the women be able to talk with these trustees as well?
The trustees are only brought in by the tribe itself, and I think you're putting a cart before the horse now. I think this conversation has been going rather well. I think this
until we ask for the
and
trustees'
we're-
names. That's all I ask for.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be ugly at all. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if you think I'm being disrespectful, but that's all. I just want to know what the trustees' names are, and if they're for the Mattaponi men and the Mattaponi women. And if they are, I just want to know who they are. I have a list of the old ones, but I like to know who the new ones are. If any's passed away, I heard one did. That's all. No disrespect, just wanting to know, because I think it should be the rights of, I'm a tribal member, I live here. I do pay the taxes the same as everyone else. I just want to know. I don't know much
Okay.
about our government, but I do want to know that, and that's all I'm asking. No disrespect, no trying to do anything funny.
Okay.
So I'm ready to write.
I'll get back to y'all on number 13.
Get back on the trustees. Oh,
I think I heard
Okay.
that comment. I think I heard that comment, you know. So
What's that?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, the comment of yeah, so we can about calling the trustees. Exactly. We're here to work with you guys. We're not trying not to work with you, but to hear, you know, I feel like this. I want this to be a productive meeting, and to hear a comment of, you know, want the names so we can call the trustees. It's like you're
No, I
putting
didn't say
something out
call
there.
the trustees. I just said we want to know the names of our trustees.
I'm not, excuse me, I'm not going to argue here, but I said, I'm not,
No.
I didn't say you said that. I know, I said, I heard someone say that just now. So I didn't say you said it, but I heard somebody in the background make that comment. So I'm just saying, we're here to work. Well, I did. And we're here to work together, and we're here to move forward, not to work against each other. And I feel like we've come a long ways, and we're trying to make this happen, and we're going to make it happen. Not trying, it's going to happen. And we're right at the threshold of it being done.
Okay.
all
Sorry.
right. So we've reached the end of the, thank you, Mark. We've each reached the end of the questions. Is there anyone who has taken notes who would like to clarify or have any additional questions? I want to take a couple down and go ahead and just speak up now if you have anything that you'd like to have clarified.
This is Connie, and I have a question.
All right, so we've got Connie. All right, go ahead, Aunt Connie.
Okay, Mark. In the audio that most of us, if not all of us, heard on concerning the women's rights, why were we so disrespected by some? I know you can't speak for everybody, but why were we so disrespected by some of those in attendance? And if you're so much for us having a voice and having a say, why didn't you, as the chief, stop it? I said, you have sisters and you have nieces, and you have allowed us to be bashed. And I'd like to know why. And also, I have a clarification. What was the reservation by not giving or taking the women's voices? You said you weren't sure which happened. What do you think the reservation, what were they protecting the reservation from? In your opinion, I know you, like I said, you can't speak for everybody else, but in your opinion, what were they, by not giving us a voice or taking away, what were they protecting the reservation from?
Okay.
I'll answer that first, and I can say I don't know, because I wasn't here over 100 years ago, so I have no idea what was going on. I do know that there are people here that your grandfather and his fathers before them, they didn't go to West Point by themselves. So there's a lot of things that were happening that we don't know. We don't know what I can't answer that question. And then about your other question about, I think it goes back to what I said earlier, is that if everything was, if you, I didn't, I'll be honest, I did not listen. I'm not on social media. I didn't listen, but I had people tell me that a lot of what was put out there was not what truly was said. Only bits and pieces were cut out and put out there so people could tell a story, or a person or whoever could tell a story. And be honest with you, that story, you know, it all it does is it slows down the process that we're trying to do to make this happen.
Well, I heard someone say, just excuse me for saying this, ladies, just let them bitch. Or we'll tell them whatever until we can just get this straightened out. And I mean, I've listened to audio. I've heard, not my first time hearing it, and I heard that those things come out of their mouths. And I would just like to, you know, like I said, you had no control over what came out of their mouth, but you say that you are for us, like I say, having our voice, having our rights, and having our place. And we are going to get it. But I'd like to know, you as chief, why didn't you tell that young man that said, oh, let him bitch? And why didn't you tell this other one, I ain't being backed in the corner by nobody? And why didn't you tell this other one, hold up, these are our Mattaponi women. Excuse me, I'm not finished. These are our Mattaponi women that we're talking about. Let's not disrespect them like that, especially when you're trying to include us.
All right, now I'm going to say like 2 or 3 things here right now. One is what I said earlier, is that the whole gist of the conversation was not played. So you don't know what I said, and you don't know what led up to those words being said. That's the first thing. Number 2, you know, I've given you guys a platform to answer y'all's questions, but I feel like here it is now. Let's go bash the chief and tell him what he hasn't done, what I haven't done for you or anyone else. I'm out here and I represent all my people, not just the men, not just the women, but the elders and our children. I represent all, because I want all of us to thrive and move forward, not move backwards. All we're doing is beating a dead horse right now. We are trying to move forward, and we do not need to do that. We do not need to hash up what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 100 years ago. We got to move forward. We got to move forward as a people. If we don't move forward as a people, we'll be nowhere.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay.
But if we don't move forward as a people, as a whole, and like, I'm not asking anyone to do anything for me. I have nieces and nephews younger. You have sisters and nieces, great nieces. I'm talking about our future children also. I'm not asking about me. I'm not trying to bash you at all. That's not my intentions. I don't even have that kind of energy. I just would like I said, I just wanted to know, why didn't you just stand up and say, hey, look, these are our women. Let's not bash them. That's all. I don't think that's an awful question.
And to be honest with you, you don't, as I said, you don't know what was said in that meeting. You're taking bits and pieces that were put out on the internet that didn't tell the whole story of what was being told.
I know a whole lot more than you think I do.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I know I probably said something. I'll be honest with you, but I can't tell you verbatim what I said. But I guarantee you that something was said. But I can't tell you verbatim, because you know, again, we're not there trying to bash women, trying to bash each other. We're there to get a business taken care of and move forward.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You still haven't answered my question, but thank you anyway, Mark. I'm not trying to bash you. Thank you.
I didn't answer your question. I think I did. You just don't want to. You just don't want to.
Excuse me. Don't bash
All right.
me. I didn't bash
All right.
you. Excuse
All
me.
right.
Go there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move
All right.
on to the next one. And just as far as the recording goes, and just that recording got stopped right at that comment, and we have no proof of what was said before or after that. It was only 30 minutes of that recording. Is there anyone who has any questions or clarifications of the questions that we have already asked Mark?
I have a question.
Okay.
I want to know if the Mattaponi women can be a part of this revitalizing or putting together of this constitution that includes them in it. Can we, if it's the chief and William Mary who's working on it, or is it Canal Consulting? Whoever, I think the Mattaponi women, I'd like to know if the Mattaponi women can be a part of reconstructing the Constitution. That's my question.
That's a question. That's a question.
Yeah.
I'll take the council, but I think everybody is going to be a part of it, and I think I'll put it out there. I don't see any reason, but I think everyone's going to be a part of it, because it's just because the council puts something on paper and the tribe does not agree to it, then it doesn't make it so. So, you know, again,
Right.
it's not, you know, 3 people or 4 people sitting there putting something together. It's
Well,
you know,
that would be
getting
great
it out.
if you could appoint, yeah, if some Mattaponi women could be a part of this, would be ideal thing, I would think.
Yeah, and I'll take it to council, but I like I said, everybody's going to have, it has to agree to it. It's not like saying this is what it is, and it's being shoved down your throat. It has to be agreed upon.
Right. Well, if they
voted
want us
on.
in there,
Doesn't-
yeah, they're saying they want us in there. I think that they probably wouldn't have a problem with picking some Mattaponi women who qualify or whatever, or be voted in, however you want to do it, to be a part of this Constitution readjustment, because I think that's very important to include them in now. On the, you know, for both, you know, for all of us really. But yes, if you would take it to the council and ask them what they thought on it, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mom.
Okay.
Just to keep this meeting going and make sure that everybody has their questions answered, is there anyone else who needs some clarification on the questions that was already that we have already asked Mark, our chief?
Yeah, I have a question. It's Sunday. Hey, Mark. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah,
Mark,
who's this?
it's Sunday. Sunday
Yeah,
has a
who's this?
question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Yeah, I will take care. I was running some water to get a sip of water. So go ahead.
Is, I know that it was mentioned, but is there lifetime seats in chief and council, or are they going to be open to voting new councilmen in, so that when women are included, we actually have an opportunity to get a seat?
Yes, there's no lifetime. Nothing is lifetime, and that's part of the Constitution itself. There's no lifetime seats. There's a period, and then there's a vote, as we said before. So there's no lifetime seats.
Okay. And
And that's
Mark,
what I
this
said
is Autumn.
earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
As I said earlier, this, you know, when we was, I think was asking about appointing, and I'm going from memory, but appointing from council or something of that nature, about women being on the council seat or something. Appointing to office, I believe, was the proper terminology.
Right.
And it said it goes by, again, you are will be appointed by your peers. I mean, your peers will nominate you. If it's a female or male or whoever it may be, they will nominate for the appointments for the seats. And there are no lifetime limits for any seats.
Right, and I get that. I'm just saying, I don't think we've had an election in a very long time, so I didn't know what they had in mind to.
We had election exactly. We had election exactly a little over 4 years ago, and we haven't had an election because, again, of a pandemic. So it's not like it has gone for a long period of time, because it hasn't.
Okay. This is Autumn, Mark. Just to clarify on that for myself are there term lengths before there's another vote, or what takes place before there's another vote?
That's all that's going into the Constitution right now.
Okay.
There are certain things that are being suggested by the lawyers and things of that nature to help put together other constitutions, so that and I don't mind saying what they are. They're like, for councilmen, they're on one. Half the council seats are on one rotation, different rotations, I guess is the words I want to use, so that basically you're not wiping out a whole council seat all the council at one time, all the chief at one time, but you're wiping out pieces, so in case, if you're working on something or whatever, you have people that know what's happening. So that's one of the recommendations that were put out there, like the chief and councilman 1, 2, 3 are in this term. Then 2 years later, the assistant chief and 1, 2, 3, 4 are in that term.
Okay. All right, guys, I feel like we're moving along. Is there anyone else? It's the perfect opportunity to chime in now.
Hey, it's Raven. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Raven.
It kind of goes back to question 8 when we talked about fixing the discrepancies between the men and women that live on the reservation.
I'd
And
like to restate what question 8 was, Raven, so when everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Question 8 it was the long one about because of over the centuries. Oh, that was the long one. But yes,
I didn't write that question, but I just want clarification on it.
Yeah, the disproportionate number of voting female tribal residents. That's what that question had to do with.
Yeah. And Mark, you mentioned it's not about men versus women, which I completely agree with. I don't think any of us want it to be that. But you talked about, when you go to a tribal meeting, you're sharing your opinions and your thoughts, and you should be about the people and not just men versus women. I think, and I don't want to speak for any of the women on the call, but I think a lot of it that has, been upsetting is that women aren't at the table right now at all. This is our first meeting with you. How can we fix that discrepancy? Or, you're talking about rewriting the Constitution, things are being done, but there's no woman voice, and women do have different lived experiences. A lot of it, many of us on this call represent our tribe in numerous ways. And we have things to offer, the chief and council with our thoughts and opinions, but at this point, it's not. So how are we going to fix that? How can we be a part of this movement of moving forward in the present time? Not talking about a grant for federal recognition, but just in terms of getting women in there. How are we going to fix that?
And that's the whole purpose. The fix is the Constitution. That's the fix. And that's what we're close. We're very close to making it happen until we keep getting these little road bumps that keep getting put in the road in front of us. But we're I mean, we're very, very close to that being the reality. When that reality hits, then, you know, everybody's sitting at the table.
So when that constitution goes to be ratified, you talked about everyone gets to see it and vote on it. Who is everyone? Because that affects
everyone who lives on the reservation, because that's who it affects. As I said before, we do not govern. The tribe does not govern non-residents. The tribe governs the residents.
Yeah, I understand that the tribe governs the residents, but it seems like kind of like, you know, women had, you know, we grow up, we have families, we have to leave, not by like necessarily our choice, but because we grew up, we had families, we had to leave. We didn't have, I mean, there was no other choice but to go make our own home somewhere else. I personally would have loved to stay on my homeland, but I couldn't. So I think that's where some of the frustration comes from.
Yes, I really don't want to go down that road, because there could be, you could have if you would have asked. You never know. Gotta ask first.
I did ask, and I never got a response, but that's okay. we could talk about that another day.
So I'm just saying that I wasn't when you left here. When you left here, I wasn't chief. And I love when people are laughing, and this is what I'm talking about. This is the disrespect, you know, that people have. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think I've answered all your questions. I answered everyone that you had on your list, and I'm ready to end this because I have other things to do today. And I think that we're I want to end it on a good note.
And they'll be there in just a second.
Let him finish, please.
Yeah, the good note is you know is that, you know, we're closer than ever to making this a reality, and we need not to put roadblocks up to make it not a reality. And
What roadblocks,
again,
Mark? Can I ask you which ones are we going through that we still got to wait for?
I'm not
the roadblocks. I'm concerned about those and how long it would take to clear them up. Do you hear me?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, I hear you.
You said there's roadblocks. I'm concerned which ones would we need to work on.
I'm not saying, I said we do not need to put up roadblocks, is what I said.
Well, that's what was holding us up.
I said we do not need to put roadblocks, but there are things that are holding us up. And
well, that's what I want to know. What are they, so we can work on them?
I'm working on them, and when they're corrected and taken care of, then we can I'll be glad to share it with you guys.
Can we have any kind of timeline?
As I said, I was saying,
I'm concerned really about that. And as much as important as everything else that we discussed, we're worried about how long and much longer is it going to take to clear up these roadblocks, which shouldn't be. The media, social media thing, that shouldn't be a roadblock for us women to, you know, to have the right thing. That shouldn't be it. But that's not us. We want one thing, and that's what we're focused on. And we've been working on timeline because I've been in touch with the tribe about women's rights. It's been about 6 years now. And then about a couple since Autumn went right in front of the tribe. And we're still waiting. And then roadblocks come along while we were waiting that we can't even help or had anything to do with. So I'm concerned that we get a little bit more detail and transparency on these roadblocks that are still holding up and the Constitution that's being formed without us. That's important. And that's the main thing, that I don't want all the other things to be interfering with what's real. What's real, we've been waiting a long time.
And the Constitution is the main thing that needs to happen. So
we want to help with that. Yeah. We want to help you with that.
That's the main thing that needs to happen. That's the main thing that needs to happen. And people will have a voice to voice their opinion with the Constitution. But just, I mean, I'll tell you one more thing, and then, you know, really, but I need to understand that we get a lot more done and things happen. We have meetings and things of that nature when the chief and council meet. You have a whole lot of other voices, a lot of finger pointing happens, arguing, and nothing gets done. This is way we can get things done and then put it out there to the tribe and everybody.
Without the women, You can get things done better, you think, without the
No, I'm not
any
saying it. I'm
women
not
being
saying that.
involved?
I'm not saying that.
Oh,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I
that.
just want
I'm
to
just
clear
talking
up.
about. No, yeah, I'm not saying without the women. I'm just saying with when there's a lot of voices in a room and we're trying to get to an end game. A lot of those voices sometimes keeps it from the end game happening.
Yeah, I understand.
So we're
So you just need
so
to
we're
have
trying
control of the meetings. Yeah, have control on them and get them focused.
you can
Yeah.
have you try to have control, but you have people also that are that hot-headed and want to be their way or no way, and nothing gets accomplished. And I feel now that things are getting accomplished, and that's the main thing. So things are getting accomplished.
I can speak for myself, and I'm sure many women here would be very interested in helping get that constitution together and get it together in a way that we all can be satisfied and happy and work for everybody. So yeah, do keep that in mind. You get back with us soon and let us know something soon,
I will,
so we don't have to wonder.
Yeah, but what we need to understand is not just putting something on paper. It has to be done. It's a certain way that it has to be done, and that's
right.
You have the legal people involved. You have scholars involved that knows how it has to happen. How it has to be laid out.
All right.
So it has to be laid out a certain way, and then it's looked upon to everybody and to say, okay, yeah, I agree with this, I agree with that. No, we maybe need to change this, and then we go back and say, okay, this needs to be changed, and this needs this needs to happen. But it really the Constitution, which you got to understand is, and which you probably do. I'm not saying you don't, but it's really your groundwork. It's your groundwork for where your bylaws and how you govern. Then, excuse me, it's the groundwork for the for basically your laws and how you govern yourself.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I thought it might be at all of our interest to have our Mattaponi women and voiced in their opinions in there, so maybe we wouldn't have to take it back, to get it redone because someone didn't agree. If you have a nice variety at the table, looking upon it and helping making the choices, I think it would be a easier, faster way. Not that you got to be at speed, but progressive way. And that's why I mentioned it. And hopeful that y'all will really think about it and get back with us soon and let us know something so we can move forward. I'm more than willing to move forward together, but we got to do it together. And we got, keeping us waiting longer, just making, us wonder what's happening. Do they care? We don't want that anymore. We just want to work by your side, work with you in this Constitution and get it done properly. And I won't hold you no longer, but that's just how I honestly feel about it. And just want to move forward in a good way. That's it.
This is Connie. I have one more little question, Mark. I'm sorry. I have one. Will the non-reservated women have any rights or any says or be able to have seats or anything like that in the future on the council or the non-reservated women? Will we have any kind of rights or say or anything?
I would say no, because it's hard to govern and you're not living it. So I say no. Not just me.
We're not living it.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, you're not here. You're not. You can say, you can be part, and I'm just gonna throw something out there. You can say everybody needs to be in bed at 8:00. Sun goes down. Nobody can be outside. Then that gets voted on and it's passed. Well, at 8:00, you're sitting in West Point or Richmond or whatever, and so you're governing a rule or a law that you're not even living. So that's what I said earlier, that the tribe, chief and council, they oversee the people residing on the reservation. We do not oversee people that are non-residents and not living here, because you're living and you're under the laws and rules and regulations of wherever you may be living at.
I feel like once we take that once we take, we are members of the tribe, I guess I feel that we all live according to those tribal laws, no matter where we are, as out of respect. I mean, whether we live on the reservation, there's no way that we could all live on the reservation. It's too small. But for wherever we live, if the Mattaponi people have voted on, as you say, going to bed at 8 o'clock, well, then the Mattaponi tribe as a whole should respect those laws. That's the way I believe. And I think a whole lot of people will think the same thing. We do need to come together so we can have the same laws. And I think that all of us should have the same abilities and capabilities out of respect. Like I say, no matter where you are, if the reservation tribe as a whole says we're going to go to bed at 8 o'clock and say we're going to say a prayer to our Creator that all things are well, out of respect to your tribe and what you've taken on as an adult and understanding, respect those things. Because as far as there's not that many women on the reservation, and it's just really, I feel it's gonna limit us. And I feel when we're limited, there again, it's gonna cut us slack somewhere.
Can I just say a little something to that?
But I guess I want to be the counterpart on that too.
Okay.
It's not, and it's all going back. I mean, I know this is all about the women's rights, but if you allow a non-resident, doesn't live here, a woman to hold seat and all that, then you open it up to everyone. And we can't govern that way. I'm not asking you to say something back right now, but you need to really think about that. Take a step back and really think about it.
Well, how do
Just like
who we opening it up to?
No,
I'm that part. I'm sorry.
No, I think you open it up to every tribal member on from the Mattaponi reservation, male, female, it doesn't matter. If you don't live here, you have say so, and you can't do that.
Can I say something, please? I just like to say something to it. What about the women who have written letters in asking for the lots of the land that we've been granted? What about those women? Should they not have be able to hold seats while they're waiting for their lots? Because as the man, there are several, well, I can say a couple men, at least one particular, does not live here. It doesn't visit on a regular basis. I mainly see him come down when there's a meeting call because he's a councilman, but he doesn't live here. He's holding his father's house. And I guess he's asked for it over and over again because his father's been passed many years now. And we know that's Uncle Dewey's house. And then we're talking about Malcolm. So he's reinstated, asked for extensions, must be for years. Still not living in the house, but yet as a councilman. So I'm wondering if the women who got letters written in for lots that are waiting, do they have the same right as the male councilman that's here on council right now that does not live here? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because these women, there are women that are waiting that haven't gotten their lots, but I think they should have the same privilege.
Yeah, as I stated earlier, when lots are granted to people, to answer one piece of that question, lots are granted to people, then you have your 2 years to do something with the lot. If you ask for an extension, anything of that nature, the tribe can grant you an extension.
But you don't have to live here, right? Because he doesn't live here. No, that house is not lived in at all, and not even visited hardly. Yeah. And he's been holding that lot for years now. And how many extensions do you get? We all need to know that, because these women, if they don't realize they put their letter in and haven't gotten an answer and their extension run out, they might have to apply or do whatever Mac's doing to hold that spot.
Yeah. And it's case by case, and you can't just, as I said earlier, you can't just, the tribe is not here to take somebody's home place away from them.
No, not that. I don't agree with that. But he's been holding it and living in Richmond for many years now, and holding it from someone else maybe living in that house and taking care of it. and the upkeep. Because it's not, you're supposed to be here 6 months out of the year by our old laws, and he's not here that often. He's maybe here 3 months out of the year. I mean, 3 days out of a year, maybe 4. But to be straight up and honest about it, I just want to know that the women that are holding and waiting for their lots to be granted, and with letters in waiting, have the same rights as Mac for holding seats and on the council as well as he has. And I'm not just saying that I live here, I see that it's not lived
okay.
in. And not,
All right,
so I'm just asking, is that fair to the women as well? Can they do that? If they've got a lot, waiting for a lot, can they call for a seat? Or be a part of, the Constitution?
No, you can't, as I said before, you can't call, if you call for, you won't can't have an opportunity to have a seat unless you live here. You're speaking of one person, and you got to know the whole history and what's going on. As I said in the beginning, excuse me, can I talk, please, for once? I said, as I said in the beginning, I said, I told you guys that, one is case by case. I lost my train of thought now. One is case by case. One is that you only have to stay here a certain time of the year. You don't, as long as you're staying here a certain time of the year, you're fine.
Right.
So it's not like you. So you're fine there. As I was saying earlier, when usually people call for lots, and this has happened in the past, and it's happened many times in the past, is they call for a lot, and it's usually they're calling for a piece of a family member's lot. They're, calling for a piece of, I'll use Lynn, for instance, call for a piece of Daddy's old lot. And that's usually how people call for a lot, because they've gone and talked to someone that's willing to grant a piece of their lot for them to move on. Now, with the new land coming up, like I said, the land use plan is being put together, and that's going to be done, and it's be done the right way. It's not going to be, I want 15 acres and I'm going to take it. It's going to be done properly. Lots to be all the same size, and they'll be granted in that direction. And I think you asked, why could people not be on seats right now? They're just because they put in a letter of intent to live here, is basically what I said before, is if you don't live it, it's can't oversee and dictate to the people that are here what they have to do, and you go back to Richmond or wherever you may go. And it goes back to that. And that's why you can't, just because you call for a lot and you're on the waiting list, you doesn't, all of a sudden you come to meetings, and you're, part of the government.
Well, I was just wondering, because like I said, I know that he does not live here, and he doesn't live here nowhere near 6 months out of the year, and that's the law. And if you don't go by the law, then you should not be allowed to have that family home that you so asked for 5, 10, I'm not even sure how many years now it's been that way, sitting there empty. And that concerns me. I'm not the only one that concerns, I'm sure, but I wanted to make sure that if that can happen with a male member and even hold a seat on the council and does not live here, why can it not be a Mattaponi non-resident woman who wants to live here but just haven't gotten the rights yet and is still pending? And I just want fairness across the board, and I just want to know that it's being done that way, and that should be included in the Constitution. And like I said, if it's your family member's home, and I got family members' homes too, and any of us call for it and don't utilize it in the proper time, should not be allowed to have it. Someone else would have to, that went through the proper procedures, would have it.
Yeah, so we right now we need to table this discussion, because you're talking about, we don't need to be talking about a person right now. I answered
Well,
all
that's
the
just the
questions.
one example. I'm sorry, but that's one I have.
But I answered all the questions that you guys asked, and now we're getting into, stuff.
Well, I just asked you, was it the same?
the
the
agenda.
non-resident women have the same right as a non-resident man. And that's the main thing. That was a question. It's an important question.
Yeah.
For us
Yeah,
women,
so
because a lot of us in this
if
group
you're-
do not live here.
Okay, we're gonna let Mark go ahead and answer that.
Yeah. I said exactly. A non-resident man and a non-resident woman, they have the exact same rights. None here on the reservation.
Okay.
Now, as I said earlier, I think I've answered all the questions. I was trying to end this in a good way, but it seems like it continues to not go that way. But I am going to end it real now in a good way, as I said before. You know, the tribe is striving for the women's rights. We're right here, ready to turn the corner and make it happen and make it a reality. And as I said before, you know, we get more done working together than pulling apart. So I would like to end this call now myself in a good note, like I said, being respectful and hoping everybody is respectful to each other here, and that we continue to move forward and not backwards.
All right, well,
And I thank
thank
y'all.
you, Mark. This is
I
Autumn.
thank y'all for your time.
Before
Yeah,
you go,
and
Mark, just,
Yeah.
this is Autumn, Mark.
Yes,
Before you go, I just wanted to thank you for joining this call. I know that we were talking about some issues and brought up some emotions in some people, but it's still a very important phone call, and it's really appreciated that you joined us. And it is a move forward. It is ending. It's starting and ending on a positive note. The fact that we even had this conversation, and I feel that the more that we can keep communication open like this, these feelings and confusions and the clarifications and things that like that, misunderstandings will go away. So I do hope that we can keep these lines of communication open in our community on and off. And for those of us who are waiting for lots and this all turns that corner, this is all a good thing. So thank you again for joining this conversation. I hope we can have more. And I hope that all who's listening has learned something, and that anything else, we can definitely have more conversations in the future.
All right. Well, thank y'all. And I
Thank
will
you.
be reaching out to y'all very soon.
All right.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark.